Hello, everybody. Welcome to Alternative Perspectives. It is February 14th. It's 6:08 in the morning. I woke up this morning with a fresh thought on my mind, and I wanted to go into something very interesting. I don't think the news has been really reporting this equally or fairly. I guess you could say that's the word. But anyway, not too long ago, before Joe Biden left his presidential seat, he pardoned Dr. Fauci for reasons unknown. But now, after a hearing wrap up, as you can see, this article here it says hearing wrap up, Dr. Fauci held publicly accountable by select committee. I'm not going to read too much of this article. I'm actually going to put the next one up. I just wanted to display this one to chronologize everything that's been going on with Dr. Fauci and why he's under so much heat and pressure. And when I go to this next screen share, it'll start making sense. Okay, so Dr. Fauci again was pardoned by the Joe Biden administration for reasons unknown. But of course, a presidential pardon is basically a federal pardon. It doesn't stop the states from investigating any type of malpractice or criminal activity. And so this is what the South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson is doing. So I'm gonna read a little bit of this article, get straight to the point. Attorney General Alan Wilson leads coalition of AGs investigating Dr. Anthony Fauci's COVID-19 response. South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson is leading a coalition of state attorneys general in an investigation into Dr. Fauci's role in the COVID-19 pandemic response, demanding accountability for alleged mismanagement, misleading statements, and suppression in scientific debate. In a letter to the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and Senate Majority Leader John Thune, the attorneys general commend ongoing congressional efforts to uncover misconduct and request state level cooperation in pursuing any violations of state laws. And we can scroll down a little bit here. And this is just a summary of what they found. Key findings from the congressional report. Origins of COVID-19. Evidence suggests Dr. Fauci worked to discredit the lab leak theory despite mounting evidence supporting it. Misleading Congress on NIH funding. Dr. Fauci allegedly provided false testimony regarding NIH funding gain of function research at the Wuhan Institution of Virology. NIH oversight failures. The NIH reportedly mismanaged taxpayer funds by failing to properly oversee grants to EcoHealth Alliance, which funneled funding to the Wuhan lab. Suppression of scientific dissent. Prominent scientists who raised concerns about vaccine risks were allegedly silenced, limiting public awareness and potential side effects. Wow. So this is very can't even really call it a conspiracy. If they have evidence, to this, and this is what they found. I'll dig a little as time goes on. I'll dig into this some more. But this is what the Attorney General is claiming that they found. Pretty much a cover up and a suppression of what they're calling gain of function research. And according to the original Nature Journal, which it seems as though Nature Journal has taken their original article down. However, they still have an article up summarizing in general what this gain of function research was. And they are admitting that it was gain of function. They may not use the word or the term gain of function, but the article describes a coronavirus that was found in bats that wasn't originally infectious in human beings, to be engineered to be just that. And so I'm going to go into detail about that. But like I said, the original Nature Journal article seems to be very difficult to find right now. So with that being said, we'll get over to that. Okay, so this says lab-made coronavirus related to SARS can infect human cells. An experiment that created a hybrid version of a bat coronavirus. So here they're saying hybrid coronavirus. By the way, um, gain of function means um, basically that that particular subject did not have that function prior to. So that's what gain of function means. That means that that particular subject gained the function to do whatever it was engineered to be able to do. So basically, the Attorney General is accusing Anthony Fauci in association with the NIH of rendering or being involved in rendering um, a particular pathogen that wasn't readily infectious in human beings to be so. So, reading on, an experiment that created a hybrid version of a bat coronavirus, one related to the virus that causes SARS, has triggered renewed debate over whether uh, engineering lab variants of viruses with possible pandemic potential is worth the risk. In an article published in Nature Medicine on November the 9th, scientists investigated a virus called SHC014, which is found in horseshoe bats in China. The researchers created a chimeric virus made up of a surface protein of SHC014 and the backbone of a SARS virus that had been adapted to grow in mice and to mimic human disease. The chimera infected human airway cells, proving that the surface protein of SCHC014 has the necessary structure to bind the key receptor on the cells and to infect them. It also caused disease in the mice, but did not kill them. Okay, so this article explains a little bit, but I don't believe it goes in detail to the extent of the original Nature Journal publication, because that original publication it described HIV also being engineered into the pathogen. So, but I found another article that summarized the original Nature Journal article, and I'll pull that up, and I'm gonna briefly summarize that. Okay, so I guess the author of this publication is this lady here, Vaishali Basu Sharma. Okay, I'm gonna try to skip through and just get the most important parts here. Okay, it says here in 2013, Xin Zhang Li of the Wuhan Institute of Virology and Peter Daszak, um, and he's associated with Eco Health Alliance in association with the Chinese and U.S. governments, published a study that demonstrated the creation of a spike protein with a unique cleavage, the kind found in SARS CoV-2. According to this study, replacing the RBD receptor binding domain of one SL-CoV COVID spike protein with SARS. Um, I don't want to bore you guys with the scientific terminology, but let me move a little bit further. Within 2 years in 2015, the same set of Chinese and U.S. scientists, Shi Zhang Li and Peter Daszak, including Ralph S. Barrick, once again, with funding from U.S. and Chinese governments, used the above spike protein to artificially create a coronavirus that scientists call chimeric virus, essentially a clone, one that is manufactured in the laboratory. This virus, Christian SHC 014, was demonstrated to eventually infect a mammalian lung. I want to scroll down to something else more, something else important here. This here, right here. It says a unique feature in the presence of the elements of HIV in the virus. Chinese researchers in March 2020 revealed that the viral protein encoded from open reading from 8 of 8 ORF8 of SARS-CoV-2, which shares the least homology with SARS-CoV among all the viral proteins. Let's read on. Can directly interact with MHC1 molecules that significantly down-regulates the. Let's go down here. The infection mechanism of 2019 ENCODE may be changed to be more similar to those of MHV, mouse hepatitis virus, HIV Ebola virus, and some avian influenza viruses other than those of most other beta coronaviruses. Now, I have a 4-year degree in environmental science, so by no means is this within my pay grade. This is a little bit above my pay grade, but a lot. This is a very specific area of science. But what I get from it in general is that these scientists basically engineered a coronavirus with SARS to open up the respiratory airways. And they also engineered it with HIV as well to basically open up the immune system so that this particular pathogen, engineered pathogen, can come into the immune system and then open up the airways with the SARS engineering. So this is looking like a conspiracy of a group of people putting together a bioweapon. That's what it's spelling out, and this is the reason why Dr. Anthony Fauci is under the current investigation by several attorney generals, um, in particular the attorney general in South Carolina. But yeah, this is the reason why. Lastly, we'll go over Dr. Fauci's background with the NIH and the ties. Maybe in the next episode, I'll get into this. The This company, Eco Health Alliance, and we'll see where this association is. But this, all of this is tying together with these recent audits where we're seeing, that this money is going to in directions that were not authorized or overseen by the federal government, um, and these monies are going into dark places for research that was not authorized by the federal government. So what it looks like is that what Donald Trump is calling a deep state, some call it a shadow government, some call it a cabal. We're seeing how this shadow government is operating in terms of how it's financing itself. And it seems like this was definitely a bioweapon put together to unleash into the public. Because why else would you want to create or engineer a, uh, a a pathogen that wasn't readily infectious in a human being? Um, maybe, um, and this is just my take on it. Maybe this particular bat coronavirus offers something that wasn't found in the other strains of corona that were more severe to human beings, but they could not, basically get past the defense systems that human beings naturally carry, and so they engineered it to introduce something that was basically not known to man before, basically, which would be quite sinister if that was the case. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. Let you guys make your own determination. But to me, that is what it looks like. So, lastly, I want to get into Dr. Fauci's background to show his relationships with the NIH, and then we'll end it there and maybe pick it up with some more detailed information. But here we go. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me pull it up. Here we go. All right, real briefly. It says Dr. Fauci served as the NIH's AIDS coordinator before his appointment as the first director of OAR upon its establishment in 1988. Dr. Fauci joined the NIH as a clinical associate in the Laboratory of Clinical Investigation at the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. He became head of the clinical physiology section and was later appointed chief of the Laboratory of Immunoregulation. In 1984, Dr. Fauci became director of NIAID, a position he held until the retirement in December 2022, where he oversaw an extensive research portfolio of basic and applied research to prevent, diagnose, and treat infectious disease such as HIV and AIDS, respiratory infections, diarrheal diseases, tuberculosis, and malaria, as well as emerging diseases such as Ebola and Zika. Dr. Fauci received his medical degree from Cornell University Medical College and completed an internship and residency at the New York Presbyterian Weill Cornell Medical Center. He is a recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom and a member of the National Academy of Sciences and the National Academy of Medicine. So here we see his relationship with the NIH. I also want to, before I end this, I also want to pull up Dr. Fauci saying or predicting that there would be some type of outbreak of a disease during the first Trump administration, which was very ominous. It was creepy. I think that's a better word. Let me see if I can bring that up. Okay, let me back that up. I'm going to share that screen.
Given, as you heard from the introduction, that I have been around for a while and have had the opportunity and the privilege and the pleasure of serving in 5 administrations, I thought I would bring that perspective.
Let me back it up because I believe he said it at the very beginning. Yeah, here it is. I want to get it from the very beginning. Let's see here. Let's go.
There will be a surprise outbreak. Given,
I'll
as
play
you
it
heard,
back again. I'll play it back
there will
again.
be a surprise outbreak.
There will be a surprise outbreak. Now, me personally, I don't believe in these many coincidences. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Let's keep going. Let's see what else he says on this clip.
Given, as you heard from the introduction, that I have been around for a while and have had the opportunity and the privilege and the pleasure of serving in 5 administrations, I thought I would bring that perspective to the topic today, is the issue of pandemic preparedness. And if there's one message that I want to leave with you today based on my experience, and you'll see that in a moment, is that there is no question that there will be a challenge to the coming administration in the arena of infectious diseases, both chronic infectious diseases in the sense of already ongoing disease, and we have certainly a large burden of that, but also there will be a surprise outbreak. And I hope by the end of my relatively short presentation, you will understand why history, the history of the last 32 years that I've been the director of NIAID, will tell the next administration that there's no doubt in anyone's mind that they will be faced with the challenges that their predecessors were faced with. So for those who think that infectious diseases is gone, there's so many people who've made foolhardy statements not knowing at the time that they made them. I usually show a quote from an old Surgeon General or an old pundit in infectious disease. So I thought I'd pull this one out from Sir McFarlane Burnett, who was actually a Nobel Prize winning immunologist, who made the statement, as many did, to write about infectious diseases is almost to write of something that has passed into history. The most likely forecast about the future of infectious diseases is that it will be very dull, which is really kind of interesting coming from a semi-genius like McFarlane Burnett. And I think what he did, and the mistake that so many people have made, is something that several of our panelists have already referred to. And that is a failure to look beyond our own borders in the issue of the globality of health issues. Not only things that are there that will come here, but surprises that we have. What are the lessons that we learned from HIV? One, you have to commit substantial financial and human resources. These things don't get addressed spontaneously by themselves. You have to enlist the best and the brightest investigators in both basic and clinical research. You have to involve the community, be it the gay community in the United States or the community in Africa and West Africa when we dealt with Ebola, or the people in South America when we're dealing with Zika. You have to have cross-sector collaboration. You can't do it alone. The CDC can't do it alone. The NIH can't do it alone. You do it with all of us, with industry, with global organizations, with philanthropy and NGOs, and you gotta get the leaders and the policymakers involved. What is for sure, that no matter what, history has told us definitively that it will happen, because infectious diseases, as I said 8 years ago in this article with David Morins and Greg Folkers, that it is a perpetual challenge. It is not going to go away. So the thing we're extraordinarily confident about is that we are going to see this in the next few years. Thank you.
So, that's a wrap for right now. Sorry about that. Anyway, that was YouTube still playing. But anyway, that's a wrap for right now. That's some very deep stuff right there, man. This is really playing out to be a huge cover up. a huge conspiracy. The Trump administration, in my opinion, is looking more and more like, heroes, basically. Um, Donald Trump was the first person to call this a China virus. He was criticized for it. He said some other things that were very controversial, but everything is playing out to seem like he was spot on, you know. Um, and unfortunately, someone that was very close to him in his administration, as far as personnel, seems to have been involved in instituting this virus across the world uh, by dirty play, you know. So more information to come out. You guys are welcome to formulate your own opinion. I have mine, and that's what I'm concluding right now until further information comes out. Like I said, I don't believe in these many coincidences. Uh, so for right now, I'm calling Dr. Fauci Dr. Death, man. Dr. Death Fauci. Wow. And they try to suppress this information from the media. We already know that the media was receiving backdoor money um, from bureaucracies to suppress media information against their opposition. So this is all making sense. It's all coming together. This is getting very difficult for people to deny. I think at this point, if you are denying this information or whatever, it's just you just don't want to you don't want to see it. You want to stay uh, willingly ignorant, basically. At this point, it's too much evidence. It's too much pointing to a conspiracy here. And I don't, like I said, I don't even know if this conspiracy is the right word to even use. But it is what it is. You guys take from it what you will. Um, and that's a wrap for this episode of Alternative Perspectives. All right. Good day.